industrial resellers. What are industrial customers? You know, you got a company and you're selling stuff. Okay, everybody's used to selling tennis shoes and food and consumer. Yeah, that's right. Industrial customers might buy steel. Right, a car company is an excellent example. When you look at a car company, I can really question sometimes. To me, some of these car companies are actually assemblers of cars, not really builders of cars. Because this thing, well, first of all, this is an interesting statistic. Do you know what the biggest export the United States has to Canada? The thing we export the most to Canada. Anybody know?
Export the most
to Canada, right? Automobile parts. Now here's the second question. What do you think is the thing that we import the most from Canada?
Cars.
Automobile parts. The same thing we're sending. So
Makes no sense.
okay, I can explain it to you. Now this is going to be a bad map because I'm not good at this. But this is Maine, and then it comes down New York, comes in through here, and then over here is Michigan.
Oh my God.
This is share.
And that's Wisconsin over there. Okay? And this is Lake Michigan. And this is Chicago. And right there is Detroit. And then over here is Toronto. And down here is Akron. Okay? Pittsburgh is over here. What are you laughing at? So if I was good at art, I would be teaching art instead of business. I don't need to draw. Can you get the concept here? Okay. This is the East Coast. There's Florida. That's where you're going to end up if you don't put us. There's sharks. Okay, so and up here, this is Wisconsin, and then up over here, all of this big thing is Lake Superior, and right up there is the Mesabi Iron Range. Anybody know what the Mesabi Iron Range is? The biggest supplier of iron ore in the United States, and perhaps in the world. They still don't know how much is there. So, iron ore. So, well, here's the car business started up in Detroit, as you know, basically. Okay, Henry Ford got going in Detroit. Well, what happened around Detroit, right here, is that the tire companies that build tires for cars, they're in Ohio mostly, around Akron. The steel companies, Pittsburgh over here, not very far away. Okay, and all of these places are on the Great Lakes so they can ship stuff by water. They mine iron up here, and in the Mesabi, they take it through the Great Lakes, bring it all the way down here to Pittsburgh where they make it into steel. It's not a very far shipment back here to Detroit where they use the steel to build cars. But up in Canada, they also build cars. There's a lot of auto plants up there, but there are no Canadian cars. All the only cars I got in Canada are basically American companies. So they build cars in Toronto for the Canadian market, and they build cars in Detroit for the American market. They're very close together. They get their tires from here, they get their steel from there. They're close to shipments all over the country. If I were to show you a map of the rail system of the United States, the way they ship a lot of cars, it's incredible. Almost most railroads in the United States end up going through Chicago. You almost can't get from one coast to the other without going through there. Okay, so all of these people work together. Industrial salespeople, industrial companies sell to industry. People sell rubber to the tire companies sell the tires to the Ford Motor Company. The steel people make steel. They sell it to the tire companies. My dad used to work for a company that made paint that they used to paint the cars with. They were located in Indiana, which is where? Really close to Chicago and Detroit. Okay? All of that was going on, and these people, the companies, the suppliers tend to pop up close to the manufacturing plants, especially nowadays. If you ever take the class called supply chain, which I teach, we'll study how that works. A big car company goes up, and within a year, there's all these other kinds of warehouses and factories around them that supply the parts. I'm just going to use Ford as an example. Do they build the radios that go into their cars?
No.
No. The paint,
No.
the steel, the rubber, the tires. electronics, the glass. The biggest glass company that puts glass into these cars, PPG. You know what PPG stands for? Pittsburgh Plate Glass Company. If you look at your car windows, you'll see PPG on it quite often. Same place as the steel's coming from. They can ship it right across the lake to Detroit or to Toronto, where they're building a whole bunch of cars also. Okay? So all of these companies have salespeople that are in here selling to the car companies. Now we're talking about collaboration for a while. Mr. Mulally, that's the president of Ford Motor Company, came from Boeing. Boeing aircraft. Aircraft are highly technical, very electronic, expensive, high-tech machines, right? When he went to Ford, cars weren't that way. They had 4 tires, an engine, an air conditioner, and a crappy radio. This is about all. He was brought in because he was a tech nut. What have Ford cars got on them now? All kinds of, what kind of stuff? Yep, electronic stuff, right? More all the time, navigation systems, cool radio, Blu-ray, electronic stuff. Now they're coming up with electronic accident prevention systems, radar that's sticking out or some sort of sensors. If another car gets too close to you, your cars have to move without you even doing anything about it. Alarms are gonna go off. They got backup lights, they got backup cameras, they got all kinds of sensors. And one of my favorite stories about Mr. Mulally, when he first got to Ford, he went out with his engineers to a Ford dealership. Ford and the General Motors, both of them weren't really into marketing. The old story was, what's good for General Motors is good for America. What we build, they'll buy it. They don't like it, tough. So they're in a car dealership. A lot of SUVs going on. SUVs, the tailgate pops up, right? And minivans. So they're on the lot. The chief engineer from Ford and the CEO and another engineer are standing here. Lady comes up looking at one of their minivans, and she opens up the tailgate and closes it. They say, "How do you like it?" She said, "Hate it, wouldn't buy it." The president always says to the engineer, "Ask her why. Why wouldn't you buy the car?" She said, "I got my arms full of groceries, I got a kid in the basket, and I can't reach the tailgate, it's too tall." "Well," he said, "you don't understand. Let me explain to you the engineering of all of this." And Mr. Mulally looked at the guy and he said, "Stop. She does not care. She just told you that you won't buy her van." And this lady, I'm guessing, is just like millions of other ladies out there. If she can't close the gate, she's not buying the vehicle. Figure it out. Have you seen what they got now?
The kick.
You put your toe underneath there, electric sensor sees it, the tailgate goes up and down. You could do it with a kid on your one arm and bags of groceries in the other. Just put your toe under the end, it opens up, and when you're done with it, you put your foot in and it closes again.
Does any toe could go there and open it up?
Fob has to be within range.
Well, you probably gotta have your fob in the pocket. See, that's part of the electronic part of it. If you're close by, it'll open just like any other door. Right? But there again, there's another cool device. I didn't get that thing at first until my son got it. Nowadays, you just put this little transmitter in your pocket. You can open up the car, push the start button. You don't need a key, which is annoying as heck, because this happens to me every time I leave here. I can't find my keys in my briefcase. The key thing's black, the briefcase is black, everything in there is black. It's dark outside, I can't find it. I'm digging out stuff and saying things like, "Wow, I wish I could find my keys." Or something like that, right? No problem anymore. You watch out, walk out. Car hears you coming, doors open up, you hop in, push a button, go home. Love it. But this is all this kind of stuff that people are starting to want. Right? Now they're into marketing. Ford decided they were going to completely change their F-150 pickup truck. The best-selling vehicle in the world. Ford F-150. No more making a lot of steel. All made out of aluminum. Frames, body, everything. Why?
Lighter, more gas efficient.
Yeah.
Don't get into an accident.
Right. You ever see rusted aluminum either? No. So, it's a big deal, but they think people want it, they're making a big leap of faith on this. They've done their testing, they think they got it. Anybody got a pickup? How do you get into that? Drop the tailgate and then what?
I like their step up there.
I like their step up, they built the step into the bumper now, you can get into the back of the truck without having to. 150s are not so bad, but you get a 250 and have any booster springs in the back, you're really not getting into very easily. Exactly, or you could take like a pole and pole walls. Okay, so they're doing a good job. Well, what's happening here, and this is part of this whole thing, the industrial salespeople are working closely with the engineers and the customers and working together. The car engineer may come up with an idea and say to the supplier, can you do this? Or the suppliers have to come to the car company and say, look what we got, this is really cool, I think you need to incorporate this into your vehicle. Which I think is what happened with the aluminum. Now, this aluminum they're using isn't like tin cans. This is the stuff that Bill Jet Airline developed. This stuff is really strong and really tough. Especially designed for automotive application. Yes, sir?
Won't that make them more expensive then?
Well,
I mean, I haven't looked up what the price is.
I mean, they can't make too much more expensive. This one, the half-ton pickup is pretty competitive. Because, you know, aluminum is dirt cheap, you know that? Way cheaper than steel.
Really?
Huh?
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, the price of aluminum, first of all, aluminum is one of the most common elements. It comes from a thing, ore called bauxite, and it's everywhere. But that's not what made aluminum so inexpensive nowadays. You know what's making it so inexpensive? You can't recycle steel very well because it starts to corrode and rust. But the aluminum recycling has made the price of aluminum get way cheap. I'm just guessing, but I think about 80% of the aluminum that's being redone is not virgin aluminum. It's recyclable aluminum. It's come back through these aluminum recycling programs. They just melt it down. First of all, aluminum melts at very low temperature. Surely you've sat around a campfire and melted cans, right? The steel ones don't melt. You look the next morning, they're still there, but the aluminum ones will be gone. They'll melt and disappear. It doesn't take that much heat, so it's easy to do. But the aluminum recycling thing has been a big, big thing for aluminum. Not only do we have billions of aluminum here in the United States, but Australia is loaded with it. They got enough to last almost forever. And it's not heavy, it's easy to ship. Or process it so they're not moving it out. Moving it out. So anyway, when you're working in marketing, you're going to be partnering with your customers and helping them solve their problems. Because it's good for both of you. Good for both of you. Now, let's say, for an example, that most companies buy from several suppliers. You know that they tend to play them against each other. Well, your steel's too expensive. We can always buy it from these guys. So you need to get your price down. And this is going on. This kind of stuff isn't happening anymore. Because of the collaborating of companies now with suppliers, suppliers are getting to be the only supplier. Because there's so much interchange of information going on. These big manufacturing firms don't necessarily want to share this stuff with everybody. Right? And companies come up with unique products that are built into the cars, and they've got patents on them. They can't get them from anybody else. Okay? They want it. You can't get it from anybody else. So instead of having this big price war going on, well, we'll buy our tires from some from them and some from you, and some from Firestone and from Goodyear, perhaps. The Goodyear guys, just as an example, will come in and say, look, here's the deal. We're tired of this stuff. Why don't you just give us all your business? We will give you the best price. And also, because of that, we can absolutely guarantee you an endless supply because we know it's coming. We don't have to worry about maybe you'll cut us off and we're going to get stuck with all these tires. If we can get the commitment from you, our volume is going to go up so much that we can then give you a better price. You trust us, we'll trust you, and we'll go forward as teammates as opposed to buyers and sellers. So So what's happening in the industrial arena, people are really starting to collaborate and become all kind of one. Strategically aligned. Okay, so this is a big deal for companies. They've got to come up with good stuff, but their salespeople need to learn how to make this happen. Now, this is one of the reasons why education is getting to be so important. It used to be that a salesperson could work for Goodyear and sell tires to General Motors or Ford, okay? They go in and just negotiate the price, and the engineering was done back at the factory. This is not happening anymore. The salespeople have to be engineers. They sit down with the engineers and the new engineers, and you'll see this with tires. You know, the car tires, the amount of sidewall in them is getting thinner and thinner, right? But the diameter of the tires is getting bigger and bigger. Why?
Makes them look like a good deal.
No, they actually get higher mileage out of it. They can put higher pressure in those tires because they're bigger in diameter. If you got a sidewall that's that thick and then a wheel that's that big, then you got a tire that's this big. So they can put a bigger rim on there, okay? More profile tire with higher air pressure, gets better gasoline mileage.